In the 80s, I used to get dropped off at what was Skate World in the CBD. We'd have a great time speed skating, and I couldn't stop, but no one could, so we all kind of crashed into walls, but it was just incredible. Unfortunately, Skate World closed down. A place called Blade World opened up when rollerblades started to become popular. And so we would spend every waking moment that we didn't have to be at school with the rollerblade crew. When Blade World closed, well, there wasn't anywhere for us to skate, so that's when we kind of started getting into mischief. Things kind of went sideways. I ran away from home. I remember sleeping in Leisure Island. You walk from the main Mount Beach onto, and it was kind of like a cave, and we slept in there for a while and would have little fires to cook the food that we acquired, and sort of made our way around lots of different places in the Bay of Plenty till we got arrested. And they said that my mum had a missing persons report out on me. My memory is a bit like a jigsaw puzzle where I have a chunk of it solved and then the rest is kind of just scattered pieces that I can't fit into place. But didn't really have a solid job until I was 24 when I applied for work at our local video store, and I loved it because I loved movies and I loved the people in there. That was my life kind of starting again after 6-7 years of alcohol, drugs and mental health battles. I met my husband while I was working at Civic Video. I did have a Halloween wedding. After we'd taken the photos looking pretty, we ripped up my wedding dress, we covered ourselves in fake blood and basically zombified ourselves and performed the Thriller dance. My husband's very shy, so doing a traditional first dance, just the two of us, with everybody watching, would have just been too much for him. Then we said, well, what about if we did Thriller as a group? So that was one of the best moments of my life, seeing that come together. I did the first zombie walk. It was one of my first events that I ever organised. I had what I thought was the great idea of zombies giving back to brains, donating the proceeds to the Rotorua Brain Injury Association. Very quickly I started to get complaints, some people thinking that I was associating people with brain injury to the behaviour of zombies. But I just don't think like that. That's to me kind of a nasty way of thinking. Anyway, it was great fun for everyone who came along, and we did it for 3 years and we raised $15,000 for brain injury in Rotorua, and I'm really pleased and proud of that. When I was pregnant with my son, I did it. I wore a costume which was a dress that had a doll in it, and the doll's head was kind of poking out of this pregnant dress tummy, so it was pretty hilarious. In 2011, I was invited to be part of a roller derby team in Kawerau. I couldn't envisage myself travelling so often to keep up with the trainings, so I decided to start a league in Rotorua instead. Put the word out to see who would be interested in joining, and we had a lot of interest and started the Sulphur City Steamrollers. Roller derby is quite similar to bull rush really, in that you are steamrolling your way through a bunch of people. The jammers are the point scorers, and it's their job to get through a pack of 8 skaters, 4 from each team, in order to score points. It's a very physical, full contact sport. Requires a lot of agility, strength. While it is a totally fun, unique and alternative sport, we're really serious about it and we consider ourselves athletes. The best thing about roller derby to me is that there is a place for anybody of any size on the track. I've always been picked on because I've been bigger than most people in my classes. I've had big leg muscles. Since I started roller derby, those things have been embraced and admired and have become my biggest strengths in the sport. And then my fellow coach at the Sulphur City Steamrollers is an ex-ballerina. She's very small in stature and very lean, but very strong and very agile. Her name's Zara Matthews. Her skater name is Kankelbiter. It's the name that you want people to recognise you by when you've got your skates on. Primeval is because I was one of the first in Sulphur City, so Prime, and then Evil because I'm always a fan of anything dark and evil. Over the last 18 months, I decided to take my own game a lot more seriously. So I started to attend some boot camps, and then I was able to play as part of Team New Zealand in Australia. None of us are paid for doing this. We do it for the absolute pure love of it and adrenaline rush. Just enjoying being around other women who are strong and independent. It's awesome. I've recently joined the Rotorua Skate Park Trust, working on the Quiro Park skate park. It is our plan to basically make this skate park happen. None of the skate parks in our city are parks where you could then send your child off to compete in a national competition. And I think the thing that people need to realise about skate parks is the majority of the people that are going there to practice our skills. If supported with events, these kids can go on to be professionally sponsored and make it big time overseas, earning much more than the people that turn their noses up at kids at skate parks.